This weekend, I will be shooting a match which is called the Oil County Challenge 2025. It's a match I remember from when I started shooting more than 10 years ago. It was one of the big matches that we heard about during the year. And it's a level 3 match, but it hasn't been arranged for well, I think the last time was actually now in 2018. So it's been quite a long time since they last arranged it. I remember some real big names attending these matches back in the days. I know Eric Raffel was there and shot it. And it had a rumor for being a really great match, which is why I want to attend it this year. So there's been a little bit of controversy that people from where I live, which is kind of like central Oslo, central Norway part, are not traveling to these little bit more remote locations when they do have big matches like this, while through the whole year these guys need to spend tons of money coming to shoot the main matches that we have here in the central part of Norway. And yeah, I agree. I think it's worth at least these big matches we need to kind of like attend. It's just great that they are arranging it outside of the central location of Oslo. What I actually did this time, and I'll tell you, I took this matchbook, sent it to ChatGTP, and I wrote, this weekend I'm shooting a level 3 IPSC match. Take a look at the attached matchbook and break it down for me. I am shooting in squad 13 and starting on stage 13 on Saturday morning. I would like to know what are the stages that give the most points, and for these do a strategic breakdown, and what are the most important things I need to focus on and practice on. And it actually broke down the whole match, listing all the biggest stages that gave the most amount of points, and then doing a strategic breakdown of all the high value stages. I then said, are you also able to estimate the hit factor on each of these stages based on the number of targets and how much time it will take to shoot them approximately? And it gave a pretty good estimate. We'll see if it's right or not when I actually start shooting it. Is this something that's going to win me or anybody the match? Absolutely not. Is it a fun aspect that you can play around with? I think so. And I think actually on the major matches I am going to shoot, this is something that I'm going to focus on. Maybe you noticed already, but since my last vlog, I have also updated my my handguard. I did mention it the last time that I am ordering a Smoke Composites custom-made handguard, which is this. It's mounted to my rifle now. I think they only deliver in 12, which is a little bit too short for me because I hold rather far up on my handguard. So I think they only deliver in 12 or 14. And 14 is too long because that will cover my compensator. And as I said, 12 is a little bit too short. So a buddy of mine, Jostein, who runs JB Shooting here in Norway, he ordered from Smoke a custom length 13-inch, which is like perfect because it's actually right on where the compensator is, handguard. And I had it for like a couple of weeks now, and so far I'm in love with it. I mean, it's so light, it's so thin, and it's perfect for the grip. I cannot praise it enough. And for the ones of you that watched my last episode with this gold grill that I actually had taken off because it became too heavy, and it's only about looks, not about functionality, so I ended up taking it off. I actually tried to put it back on again, to be honest, because I figured I'm saving so much weight now on the handguard that if I put this back on, it will still be lighter than kind of like your standard JP5 with the original handguard. But the problem was I couldn't get it on. Yes, it fits inside, but you cannot get it over the compensator. So you have to go in the back way here. But it's a little bit more narrow here because of the way it's connecting the barrel nut to the handguard. And it's the exact same size as the diameter of this these cooling fins. So it would not go in either way, which is why it's still off, which is probably a good thing because I do really enjoy how light this is now. Maybe you'll see it on the next time, maybe not. The other thing that people have commented is that they noticed that I do not run a offset optic. I actually do have an offset optic, but it's in a drawer. It's not on my rifle. So this would go here. And the logic behind running something like this is that A, you get a backup sight. So if this were to, I don't know, not have battery or for some reason break down, you would have an offset to be able to shoot with. The second point people are making is for tight angles. So when when you're transitioning to a very tight angle, you can kind of like get a different view on your rifle. So it's easier to hit those tight left targets for if you're a right-hand shooter. And also sometimes when you're kind of like shooting downwards, you can rotate the rifle and you can get a better sight picture. And I did have it on. But then, like a couple of years ago, there was a big debate. Is it really allowed to run this in PCC or not in IPSC? And the conclusion was that no, the current rule set does not allow people to run a offset optic. Then like 6 months later, they said, well, actually now it's allowed again anyway. So people then stuck it back on. What happened with me in the interim is that I actually learned how to shoot on weak shoulder. I'm not saying that people who are running this cannot shoot on weak shoulder, but for me to transition, if there's a tight left target, I usually then just pull in on my handguard and I switch the rifle directly over to my left cheek, which gives me a better sight picture than if I just were to rotate it. And then switching back again takes me so short time doing this. It doesn't really slow me down, and I feel I can shoot fairly okay. Obviously, if there's kind of like targets far ahead, you will not get the optimal grip holding here versus holding in the end of the handguard. But for me, the amount of times that I used this during a year was so limited, and then not needing to have this clunky thing up here, which takes a little bit of my field of vision. And I got annoyed because the shell casing kept on hitting this thing. For now, I'm keeping it off, and I'm not thinking that I'm going to be putting it on again, but I do get the people that have it on. Two other things that also I got questions about with my rifle is my buttstock. I use the Ace buttstock, love it, have it on most of my JP rifles. And the one thing that I don't like with this Ace stock is that it originally comes with rubber, and rubber has a tendency to stick to your clothing. So when you're throwing up and mounting your rifle, it can then stick to your clothes. So what I did is that I got a friend of mine to 3D print the exact same end of the rifle, but in plastic, which doesn't get caught on your clothing. Last thing I did, which I didn't mention the last time, was that originally the JP5 is delivered with a Hogue grip. I like Hogue on pistols and revolvers. I think they have really good grips, but here it's just too narrow for me. So I changed it first to the Miad, the Magpul Miad grip, which I really like because the Miad has changeable back straps. So you can get it pretty fat for my big thick hands. You can also get this finger stop here. And I really like that. But the thing is that with PCC, I shoot more compressed. So I have a tighter shoulder, my elbows go tighter into the body. And I noticed that with this grip, which is like this, it will be, you see my wrist here, it will give me a little bit of a kink in my wrist, which after time actually got a little bit painful, and it would point my elbow out a little bit more and it would rotate my rifle more. So I then changed to the Magpul K2 Plus, which is this one. It just has grip tape on it from Talon Grips. They have a grip tape for this one. And I'm in love with it. I mean, it's more straight. So when I shoot, I have a more natural angle in my wrist, and I feel I can get tighter. My rifle is more straight, not tilted like this. And actually, when I dry fire like 3 to 4 times a week, it's much more comfortable. I do not get that pain in my wrist. So that's also something that I would recommend people to try. I mean, we're anatomically different, so it might not be for you, but it's worth trying. So I will be leaving for the match tomorrow on a Thursday. It's about 500 kilometers to drive. So I will be starting where I live in Drammen, which is outside Oslo, and I will drive all the way down, and I'll do a stop pretty much halfway down at my summer house, where I'm just going to spend one night, and then I'm going to get up on Friday morning, drive from my summer house to close outside Sandnes, which is outside Stavanger, and I'm going to do the Guncheck. And after I've done the Guncheck, I'm actually going to visit one of my sponsors, which is TACTX. After that, I am going to bed in a little bit of a creative sleeping arrangement, if I might say. So if you stick around, you'll see what I'm talking about. So it's Thursday and I'm on my way down south. It's final stretch now, about 20 minutes left, and I'll be arriving at my summer house. So I'll probably just go straight to bed, more or less, just have a bit to eat and get up pretty early tomorrow. If it's an equal amazing day as it's been today, I will go for a little swim in the morning. This is right down by the sea, and I'm guessing that it's going to be quite refreshing temperature in the water, even if it's been nice and warm today. I'll show you the place tomorrow. I feel very fortunate to have this place because it's my grandfather who built it even before I was born, and I took over a few years ago and I upgraded it. And these days it's pretty much almost impossible to get places like this, which is like a standalone house down by the sea, because they're not allowed to build like that anymore. It's highly regulated. So the only way you can get something like this is to not buy new, but buy from somebody who already owns it. And usually these things stick in the family. And when they do come up for sales, it's just like crazy expensive. So you need to have a shitload of money to get something like this. And I don't have a shitload of money because, yeah, I spend it all on guns. 16 degrees. So yeah, at least it's refreshing. Yeah, so I'm finishing my breakfast now, a little bit behind schedule, you know, waking up in a place like this on a day like this. There is literally nowhere else in the world I would like to be. I love traveling and everything like that, but on a good summer day, just being on a place like this in Norway is just amazing. But I need to finish my breakfast because I need to do the Guncheck, and it's still like 4 or 5 hours drive. I need to stop and charge. I'm planning to drop by a Gunstore when I'm charging my car down in Kristiansand.
While I always have the most important spare parts for my JP5 handy, if something really bad were to happen to the rifle, I would risk losing a full season waiting for a repair. The same when I travel to these large matches far away, so I am considering buying a reserve PCC rifle. Espen, who you see here, is the owner of this store, and he showed me his personal Grand Power Stribog that I think is by far the most value for money on a PCC rifle. It's a Slovakian-made rifle which is known for its modularity, reliability and value, and it was also the rifle that actually won the PCC World Shoot now this summer. Equal to the MP5 and JP5, it has a roller-delayed blowback, but unlike the JP5 that is pretty much equal to the MP5, this one is designed a little bit differently, something Espen explained to me here. The store recently moved into these amazing facilities, and the way that they're now able to display the weapons is really unmatched. at least here in Norway. Also a bunch of different handguns for every budget, from cheap polymer pistols all the way up to high-end race guns, including the Alien that I think looks really interesting. But it costs more than a premium rifle, and since I'm primarily a rifle shooter, I'm a bit hesitant to put that amount of money into a pistol.
Yeah, always a bit dangerous to drop by places like this, especially since I got my vacation money this morning. It's always very tempting to bring something home. I did not buy anything, just want to underline that, but I did get some prices on stuff that I am seriously considering to order. Most likely already next week I'm going to order one of the rifles, which is Stribog that you saw. The thing is that the Stribog is now coming up in a Gen 3 version, which has a more standard AR-15 buttstock, and it also has an aluminum lower. And it's also possible to order it in different colors because it's going into production now. So there will be no extra if I want it in a different color. I was considering like a desert tan color. I think that's cool. And they could do it in gold. And you know me, it's all about the gold. Maybe I'll have the first Stribog gold here in Norway. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm probably going to end up ordering one because it's a lot of value for money. And it's easier to justify having a Stribog as a backup rifle rather than two JP5s in case one were to break down.
The Guncheck is more a tick in the box. As I'm shooting open, there are not that many limitations as to what I can have on my setup, but it's also about ensuring that the weapon is cleared for the match from a perspective of safety. One thing I love about attending matches like this is that you get to see so many familiar and friendly faces, many of these that has been in the community for decades. One example is Morten, who you see to my right here. He's been a pillar in the community for decades, and he now owns Nordic Target, that sponsors and delivers targets for pretty much every single respectable match in and outside of Norway. Everyone that's been around for a while know that these targets, because of the wax layering it has, is the only target that can withstand any type of weather without turning into a lump of wet cardboard.
Okay, my Guncheck is officially done, and my rifle is officially approved. Not that that's... I wasn't expecting otherwise. So I got to talk with some friendly faces as well. Some of these guys you see at all these matches, and it's so good to see them again. So now I am ready to shoot. I was actually a little bit regretting that I didn't schedule some time to watch the pre-match, because the people are shooting the pre-match now, and I like to kind of get to see some of the stages before I shoot them. But I'll get to do that tomorrow anyway when I get to shoot the stages. And now I'm going into Stavanger, into the city, to meet Per and the guys at TACTX, and I'm really looking forward to that. So I'll show you around in the shop. They're closing now at 5, which is in 15 minutes, but they promised to keep the doors open so that I could stop by. Really good to finally meet Per, which I've been working with for I think a year now or something like that.
It's been about a year, yes, since we first got in touch, and it's been a real pleasure. Also, mainly because you're producing really great content that is interesting to watch, and I think you're a really cool guy.
Oh, thank you.
So it's really fun for us to see what you are making, and how you sort of like are really engaged in the sport from different angles. So for us, it's also a learning experience to follow some of these really active enthusiasts in the sport.
Yeah, it's, I think I was a customer for almost a year before we started talking, because it's like whenever there's a thing that or a need that I've seen on YouTube, or a gizmo that I wanted, I would go into Google and I would type that thing. And your shop was very often the thing that came up first, because you were one of the few that actually had that in stock. So I think that's one of the cool concepts here, that you have stuff that isn't necessarily on shelf other places, at least not in Norway.
Right.
And the few times where you didn't have stuff, and I contacted you, you were able to get it or order it or find the right contact.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the really cool concept with this shop. And coming in here, I mean, there is so much things that I see that I'm thinking, ooh, I need this. And I didn't know I needed it before I came in here. So I guess that's a cool thing.
It's a bit like a candy shop.
Yeah,
it's a little bit dangerous to enter, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to ask you, so this is obviously a small shop. It's pretty central in Stavanger. But how much percentage-wise do you think people come into the shop versus the ones that order online?
Well, in terms of ratios, it's about, I would say, 1 out of 10 sales would be in shop, and then the rest would be online.
Oh.
And the shooting community in Norway is quite large. I mean, it is a country with a lot of shooting in different disciplines. We try to cater to dynamic shooting, sport shooting, or IPSC. Also, tactical shooting. There is some competitive shooting as well.
We also discussed that. I think that's one of the cool things, that you can you cater to both the practical shooters, the sport shooters, as well as the more tactical community. Like we have the Norwegian NROF here, or people who, like myself, I like to compete in brutality games or more kind of like tactical concepts, but I also do sport shooting. So it's a pretty unique concept, I think, where you both have kind of like the tactical side as well as the sport shooting.
Yes.
So what are the things that you typically sell the most of out of kind of like everyday bread and butter things?
So the bread and butter items would be magazines. It would be new shooters come in to buy a new shooting rig with a belt, pouches, holsters. Of course, we sell a lot of holsters, and we are quite proud to have a pretty good selection of holsters now. I think we're close to 100 different, perhaps specific pistol models. And expanding all the time. Sport shooters require different holstering than, say, a reservist that is more training for tactical shooting. So we're trying to build out more there as well. But the bread and butter would be sort of the basic rigs. And then, you buy a gun, it comes with 2 magazines in the box, and obviously you will need more than that.
So I know a lot of shooters, they use double alpha, and I know you sell double alpha, but you also sell different brands as well, do you?
Yeah, we have double alpha, we have CompTac from the US, we have Ghost International from Italy, a couple of other smaller brands, but those are the 3 brands that kind of more deliver everything.
I know you hired a new guy as well, Anders, who's going to help you a little bit on the social media side. So
Anders will also be working with the customer service side as well to make sure we can continue providing that the really good support that we have. I think we have been providing so far.
Yeah, I noticed that you, because I travel a lot, and when I access your site from different countries, I always get default language from that country.
Right.
So when I'm in Finland, I'm like, it's Finnish language, and I'm in Netherlands, it's like in Dutch language.
Yeah.
Do you have a large customer base from other countries as well?
Not very large. We have quite strict export laws in Norway, so there is whether it is a spring or it is, a magazine, even though those items can be freely sort of retailed in Norway, they cannot be exported. So that's the same thing for Europe. We have our website translated into the Scandinavian languages and English, because there is a lot of products that, people want right now, and they can get them from us as well. So we do export a little bit, but not too much because of the restrictions. But I think we've had customers from pretty much all over the world.
Yeah, no, and there's probably some international viewers listening as well. And what I did see when I'm traveling in these countries, you actually get freight, and kind of like everything comes up as default. So it is possible for people not living in Norway to actually order from here as well. And given that you have a quite unique concept where you have maybe stuff that isn't that easy to get certain places across Europe, it's maybe...
We have even many customers from the US.
Yeah.
There are things, even there are things that are not so easy to get that we can ship out.
So I'm starting to settle in for the evening, and sorry, it's a little bit dark, and I'll tell you why. I'm currently in a camping lot with children playing and everything, and I'm preparing for tomorrow, so I'm loading up my magazines, and that combination of loading up magazines in a camping lot is not necessarily something that goes unnoticed. So what I have covered the complete windows on the inside of my car, and it's actually not just for people not seeing me loading up magazines, but there's another reason, and let me show you.
So I thought about it many times to buy one of those Hero Ranger campers. I'll throw up a picture here, but basically this caravan camper where you only have practically a bed. There's no toilets, there's no like sink or shower. And I really wanted one of those for a long time. But it's quite pricey. It's like 400,000 Norwegian kroner, which is like $30,000-$40,000. And I came to think about it. I do have a Tesla Model X, which is fairly long. When I take the seats back, it's pretty much my full length that I can lie down. And it does have a camper mode. So when I put it in camper mode, you have the air condition going the whole night or heating in the winter. And yes, I don't have a toilet, and yes, I don't have a shower, but if I park at a camping place, like I'm here now, I do have that. So this is the first time I'm actually trying to sleep in the Tesla. What I have done, I have a pretty thick mattress because I don't want my back to get all cranked up before tomorrow's match. And I went to Temu and I bought these shades that you kind of like completely cover the car, but like with all of these Temu stuff, there's always kind of like this small thing that's not the way it's supposed to be. And here it was missing those in the top window. So as you can see, I basically took a JP rifle cardboard box and just cut it out. So it's more or less completely dark here now, and the temperature will be nice and cool the whole night. And I hope I get a pretty decent night of sleep, because I do need to sleep for 2 more nights. But if it's too terrible, I can obviously check into a hotel. But for now, it actually feels kind of good. So yeah, tomorrow's the match. So see you there. That actually went pretty well. I think I slept like a decent night of sleep. It's obviously a little bit tighter, and whenever you can like try moving your elbows around, it's a little bit tight here. But as long as you can like get fully undressed before entering the car, I think this is something I'm going to do again. Well, I will be doing it again because I need to sleep again tonight, and maybe from Sunday to Monday traveling over the mountain back home as well. Looks to be a pretty good day. I can feel the warmth on the windows, so the sun is starting to warm. Now I'll just brush some teeth, get some breakfast, and head to the match.
Are you ready? Stand by. If you are finished.
Unload.
Here I miscalculated how slow the release of the bobber was, and I could probably have shot other targets while waiting.
So that was the first 3 stages. Fortunately for me, we started on 2 short courses, because it's like sometimes you just have one of those days where you don't get into the zone. It's hard to put the finger on it. It's like everything just takes longer time. Transitions are slower, hits are poor. And today I'm having kind of like one of those days to start with. I've had that before, and sometimes it loosens up a little bit during the course of the match. So fortunately, it wasn't that many points on the 2 first stages. Not that I did a lot of things wrong. It's just that it's just too slow and too sloppy. It loosened up a little bit now on the last stage. It was a medium course, which I'm quite happy with how I shot. The thing was that I felt that I waited for ages on that bobber to appear. So I should have kind of like picked a different solution. Would have saved me maybe 2 seconds or something like that. But the shooting is starting to loosen up, so hopefully that's a trend.
Stand by.
So I did not plan to do a mag change at that point during the stage. The plan was to stop at the end there, shoot the 3 targets, and then do a mag change while running to the end. But my brain at this point was probably not processing correctly, and being the first shooter on the longest stage in the match did not help much. In fairness, I don't think I lost a lot of time on the actual mag change. As you can see, I even shot the first target holding the magazine, but it put me off a bit and resulted in taking 1 extra position that ended up costing me a couple of seconds.
So it's lunch. We've shot 4 stages and had chrono. As I mentioned, the first 2 ones was a little bit slow. Don't know specifically because I didn't do anything wrong. I just had the feeling it was a little bit slow and rusty. It started to loosen up a little bit on number 3. And then the last stage, number 1, the long course, I shot okay. I had an unplanned mag change. For some reason, I had a brain fart and I dropped my mag. I think I lost maybe like 1 or 2 seconds there, but yeah, it's okay. Tore, who is a great shooter, shooting on my squad from Brownells, was around the same hit factor than me on that stage, like 0 point something ahead of me, I think. But I think he is probably slightly ahead of me so far. And I think he's kind of like one of the head-to-head competitors I have on this match. So we'll see how we can do it. But anyway, friendly people on my squad, lovely weather, really fun stages so far. Excellent stage design. Nothing to complain about besides the fact that a little bit of a rusty start, but I'm having fun, right? So hopefully that will come. So now we're going to shoot some more and I'll give you an update later.
Now, I always make a big point out of moving my vision to the first target before making a full stop. But here, I miscalculated my stop and ended up with my full foot outside the fault line. I did not notice this at all before the RO made me aware of my mistake. They first said that I would get 1 penalty per target, and that could have almost zeroed this stage. I'm a rage officer myself, and I think this rule is probably one of the most incorrectly applied penalties in general. I completely agree that shooting with 1 foot touching an area outside a fault line should result in a penalty. There's no questions there. The 1 penalty per shot or 1 penalty per target should only apply if there's any benefit to the shooter. Here you could clearly see the exact same targets in the end of the position. Having 1 foot fully outside the fault line did not give any advantage. I made a respectful comment about that and left it up to the RO and CRO to agree. Having considered it, they decided to give me 1 penalty for having my foot outside the fault line, something that, in my mind, was the completely correct decision in this case.
Stand by. Stand by. Finished and
Very well designed stage. In the hatch you could only see the Charlie and the Delta on the left target. As this was a relatively low hit factor stage, I decided to shoot the popper and left target from the left side, giving me full vision to the Alpha. It was a tight angle, but I underestimated how tight with the rifle, and I ended up spending a lot of time adjusting my stance to avoid another penalty from touching outside the fault line while shooting.
Are you ready? Stand by.
And there you have my first and fortunately last mic on this match. And it's on a full-size target that is 2 meters away. It's the classical 3 in the lower and 1 in the upper target mic.
Finish, unload and show clear.
So we're done with day 1 and sitting here reflecting a little bit on the performance so far. To be honest, I'm not very happy. It's hard to describe exactly what I'm not happy with. It's more that I know I can do better, and when I don't shoot at my optimal performance, even if it's not like any major F-ups. And just a little bit kind of like messy shooting. And it's about resetting now and basically just trying to bring my performance back on pair tomorrow. So we'll see how it goes. I'm having dinner with a couple of friends that we've been shooting together for many years now. It's Kristen, who I think is my age. I'm not sure. Maybe a bit older. And his son, who I've been seeing on matches for, well, how many years is it you've been shooting now?
This summer at least, I've been shooting competitively in IPSC for 4 years. So
now you're competing in, I mean, you're all over the place. You're competing in PCC. You're quite good in PCC. You're shooting pistol primarily. I think it's optics you're shooting, but
I've shot, as you mentioned, I've shot PCC, and I've also but for many years now in pistol I've shot with production optics. That's my main division.
I don't see you as a junior because I remember when I was like a horse head in front of you result-wise, and then we were a period where we're quite equal, and now I'm seeing you're starting to take off. Now you're very often ahead of me, and I know that even on the overall results, I think that when you're checking, you're not checking against junior, you're checking against overall. So I was calculating, and I was hoping I would become senior before you became out of junior, but unfortunately, I think we have like 2 years where we need to compete in the same division, which kind of sucks.
At the beginning, when I started shooting, there was not as many juniors in Norway, and after a while, me and another friend we had, we both started shooting. We took the IPSC course together, showing that we could actually do this. We're capable of doing it. I think that motivated a lot of parents to actually bring their kids along. And so the sort of junior environment grew.
It's so important, and I think it's a big one for the organization that they realize that we need to bring fresh talent in. And I think that the organization is actually quite well at establishing that.
Very much. Very good junior team.
Now
at least.
So going forward, I'm probably not going to compare myself to you, but we still have your father, which now has a semi-broken leg. So hopefully I get a head start before you start shooting.
Good head start.
Because we have been kind of head to head as well. I know.
Many times.
What's your kind of highest achievement this year and overall so far, you think, in terms of what you performed?
My goal has just gradually moved up to comparing myself to the national team shooters, even though I'm still a junior. And that's one of my goals, to become hopefully as good as they are. And that's been sort of my goal, and I've had these, percentages goals where I want to do, okay, in this match I want to perform perhaps 85, or this match I want to perform 90 plus.
As I mentioned, I think one of your strengths that is quite unique is that you are both a really good pistol shooter, but you're also a very good PCC/rifle shooter. So you manage both platforms very well. Because what I see is you often have very good PCC shooters that are kind of good pistol shooters or average pistol shooters, but having both of them,
being able to have good results in both makes it so that adds up to a very good overall result.
But what would be your, say, 3 to 5 year goal in terms of IPSC shooting?
My goal is to manage the national team and get into the sort of meet the marks where I need to be to actually be able to be considered for the national team. So and also that this year I'm going to shoot the Extreme Euro Open in the Czech Republic, and so that's one of the matches where if I shoot sort of 70% of the winner, I could be considered for the national team. Last year I got in 58%. And so I know what I can do, and I have improved a lot since that.
And what would be your kind of number 1 or 2 tips for people who are younger but are interested in starting shooting IPSC, kind of getting into it, and what would be your advice?
For me, I think that everything in shooting became more fun when I actually sort of put in the work. And it sounds sort of boring that you need to put in the work, and sounds like sort of that basic advice, but shooting becomes more fun when you can actually perform and when you can actually have good results.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I needed to do that boring dry fire work when I didn't want to, it paid off because then it was more fun to shoot. And I think that has this sort of positive spiral. And I think that starts with doing some of that, boring.
And it helps having a parent that has a hidden budget for buying firearms. And I think that's obviously a barrier, but there are clubs that are very welcoming. I mean, we shoot for Hokksund, who love kind of like when we see younger people coming to the recruit training who wants to kind of like start shooting.
Yeah.
So even if you're not in the position where you're fortunate to have a father that kind of like drives you around, even with a broken leg, to go competing around the world and in Norway, there are clubs that are willing to accept you as a junior shooter and to kind of like take you under the wing, help you to perform, even without the parents. I genuinely believe that you are going to be one of the top names within shooting, and not only in Norway, but internationally, especially in Europe. So let's rewatch this YouTube video in a few years from now. Maybe you kind of like got married and you got 2 kids and you kind of like quit shooting. I don't know, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So.
I actually plan on studying also for a while, but I have plans to continue shooting with my father here. To be able to still go around and compete, even though I'm going to go have an education. So and I think it's but yeah, everything about shooting, I love it. It's
So, new day. I slept. I think I slept rather good actually. Again, but according to my Apple Watch, I slept 5 hours and 21 minutes. I am absolutely not rested. My resting heart rate is high. My HRV is low. So maybe not the most optimal conditions for shooting a match, but I don't think it's to the point where I can actually use it as an excuse for some of the brain farts I had yesterday. So, but maybe I will, depending on how it goes today. I guess I'm trying to have breakfast here in my car, so that's why it is like it is. But to compensate for the lack of sleep, I'm going to charge up now with caffeine. So probably going to be in an interesting mood during the day. But looking forward to the day. It looks like okay shooting weather. It's gray. It's nice temperature, and looking forward to the second half of the match.
Stand by.
If finished, unload and show clear.
Bye.
Finish, unload, show clear.
Stand by. If finished, unload and show clear.
Thank you.
You saw the results. Overall, bronze. I'm quite happy with my shooting today. Whereof yesterday, obviously you saw it, I was not very happy. And combined, I ended up third, so it's a bronze medal. And it's deserved. I mean, both Tore and Bjarte, who beat me, was shooting better than me. So it's well deserved. Pity for Tore. I mean, he could have taken first, but he got a magazine feeding issue on one of the long courses that he lost quite a bit of time on. So, but Tore shot a really stable and great match. Honorable mentions to Erlend as well, who was on my squad. He's also he's a young, very good shooter. He was kind of like chasing me through the whole match with a few percentages, but I had a good day today and he came in fourth place, but he also shot a solid match. But the match itself was an amazing match. I think it's one of the better matches I've shot, both in terms of practical things, how it's organized, and most of all, the stage design. There were very often multiple solutions on one stage, and even the ones that chose one solution shot it more or less the same time as the other one who chose a different solution. So big kudos to the people who hosted this match. I spoke to Ingebjørn, who's one of the organizers, and I said, are you going to do it next year? And he didn't answer me right away. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to ask you now, because obviously having spent shitload of time making all of this and now thinking that you need to do all that again. But I think that once they get a little bit of perspective on this, and also with all the feedback, because I heard so many people saying how good this match was, this rumor is going to spread throughout Norway, and next year, I think it's going to be a waiting list on this match. So big kudos to everyone kind of like who spends their free time, who spends so many hours for us being able to come and shoot. So with that, I want to conclude this video. And let me know in the comments if you actually watched the whole thing. It's almost like a social experiment for me. The actual time you spend shooting, and I said this before, is just a very, 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 very tiny fraction of everything else that this sport and this passion is about. I'm happy with bronze medal. It reflects my subpar performance from yesterday and my okay performance from today. And again, thank you to everybody who hosted this match, and hope to do something similar in terms of vlogging soon in the future.